Hello, people of YouTube. My name is Steve Gray, and thank you for watching. Today, we're going to be talking about My Hero Academia Season 6, Episode 13. Best Jeanist is back. We kind of start off with like a general recap. I know we got that image. I think the first episode, I believe I used that as the thumbnail. And then basically shows, Mirako doing her thing, the sedative, I'm forgetting Dragon Lady's name, Deku fighting. Basically, the beginning of this is kind of like a general, very quick recap of the last several episodes of the fight. We see Best Jeanist drop down. He wraps everybody up. Dabi says, "You're supposed to be dead. I saw you die." Obviously, Hawks made it look real, because Dabi definitely had the actual body of Best Jeanist. However, at the same time, Hawks definitely did not actually kill Best Jeanist, because he is alive and fighting still. All the villains are kind of wrapped up. Spinner's yelling at Shigaraki, like, "Come on, man, you got to get going. Tell Giga to do something." Dabi ends up burning Najiro up a little bit. She gets kicked down. Best Jeanist is kind of just like pretty much being a one-man band in the beginning of this episode. He's pretty much putting everybody at bay, with pretty much no help from anybody else. He's just being super OP. Shigaraki finally wakes up, and he's like, "Hey, Giga, destroy." And then we just see like the heroes fighting the Nomu. The Nomu all end up going to the aid of Shigaraki because he's in a predicament right now. He's tied up, he's worn down, he's beat up, he's not healing properly. Giga's trying to move. We have this cool interaction between Dabi and Shoto, where they're fighting. Basically, Dabi's like, "I'm going to kill you now." Imagine the look on Endeavor's face. Pretty much, she's just doing everything to piss off Endeavor and make Endeavor feel horrible. That is his main goal right now. I don't know why he's not like trying to kill Endeavor, or maybe he wants Endeavor to suffer. I think it's the later there. He even says, "What the heck? You made that one call that almost killed our brother." And Dabi was like, "Well, basically an unnecessary sacrifice. Like, I don't think he has anything necessarily against his siblings per se, but at the same time, he's willing to watch them die, if it means hurting Endeavor. That he has essentially, even Shoto says you become insane, and 100% he has become insane. Deku is trying real hard to move his body. Nothing's working, really. But then we get somebody back. We get somebody back in this episode. Put a big old fat smile on my face when I saw him too, because I love this guy's quirk. I love this guy's attitude. Lemillion is back. Remember, he was one of the candidates that All Might was debating whether or not to give One for All to. And, obviously, Deku is the one who ended up getting it, but he's back. So what that means is Eri has some sort of control over her power now, which is going to be interesting for the heroes. Yeah, it's a really cool fight, and he shows up and everything. I know at some point in the episode we actually get a little sequence. Yeah, right here. Basically, Eri's been, trying out her power. What they do is they have a lizard they can grow their tails back anyway. Lizards can, so not a big deal. I don't know if they actually cut it off, but they show the lizard with that tail, and they show Eri reversing it to give the lizard the tail back. Eri being adorable, looks like she's grown up a little bit. And she's like, "Don't apologize to me. You are the reason I started training in the first place. It's because of me that you lost your power." So she had the ability and gave Lemillion his powers back. So what that means to me is we can now essentially heal everybody. I don't know what the extent of her powers are, but Eraser can get his leg back. it's pretty much the ultimate healing quirk. Deku can get his arms back to full strength even before he damaged them in the first place. So he can like fully reverse any and all damage done to his arms. Which I'm assuming is going to happen at the end of this. Bakugo can no longer can be unimpaled. I know he's been putting up a fight in this episode too, which is surprising. Ida is basically saying, cut it out. I know Ida's arm is a little bit messed up as well. She can essentially heal that. I mean, she can basically reverse anything. So I don't know if she has the ability to reverse death. That is the one thing I am unsure of. If someone dies, if she has the ability to bring them back. I don't think that was really touched upon, but I am kind of curious to see. It's almost like the heroes just got an awesome asset, and they definitely need to protect Eri because if Shigaraki gets a hold of that power, yeah, I mean he's going to be the same. Essentially you can have basically her just running around healing everybody that gets hurt, no matter how bad you get injured, just reverse it and you're good to go again. Who knows? We also, in this episode, we get a lot of things happening. Best Genius shows up, we get Lemillion back, we get Bakugo's name. His hero name is going to be Great Explosion Murder God Dynamite. And some are kind of laughing at it. We're just going to call him Dynamite, because that is way long of a name. Yeah, but Shoto even says, you realize I had better endurance than you. You're burning up. So Dabi is getting hurt in the process too of the battle because it's kind of like several separate battles are going on here. The main two obviously versus Giga, and then Dabi versus Shoto. Shoto definitely has better endurance, but not. I would say argue that Dabi's definitely the better fighter at this point in time. Shoto doesn't have as much experience in battle as Dabi does, being older than he is. But who knows? And then Deku's yelling out, it's not Endeavor's power, it's yours. He's like, you don't have to point out the obvious going on here. But he's like, but I'm a pitiful person, basically saying, essentially, it is his power, because Endeavor's the one that gave him the flames. Giga ends up breaking out. However, the sedative from the previous episode or two finally kicks in. So Giga is down. We don't know how long. We then see a bunch of heroes. Gran Torino looks like he might be alright. And he definitely got hurt. Everybody's kind of down for the count. The only one that's not getting healed right now is Midnight. She's just kind of like passed out in a forest, so I don't know what's going on there. I mean, we some of these heroes, we don't know if they're dead or alive currently. Like Gran Torino, Hawks is in really bad condition. Endeavor did deal kind of a final punch to Giga. He got inspired by Deku to move a little bit. Bakugo also kind of unlocked this new power to a certain extent. I think his explosions are getting more powerful. So a lot of cool stuff just happening in this episode. Lemillion can't really get hurt by the Nomu. He's literally phasing through them. That's his ability. But at the same time, he himself doesn't really have the ability to take them down. He can punch them, and sway them, but he can't really kill them. He doesn't generally have that ability. And then we kind of end the episode with Mr. Compress trying to reach something. He says the only thing he can reach is his butt. Which maybe he'll compress his butt to make it smaller so he can get out of the ropes. I really have no idea what's going to go on there. It looks like in the preview, if we go to it, more fighting's going on. They say it's winding down. I mean, Mr. Compress obviously breaks free. You can see him bloodied up and beaten, but he's gotten out of there. More heroes are showing up to help. Bakugo is probably done. He's definitely exerted all of his energy. Shigaraki and Spinner look like they're free as well. Not really sure what's going to happen with that. Battle's finally coming to an end, it says. So we're going to get some background, I think, on Mr. Compress. I have no idea what this is. That looks like it might be a Shigaraki power. Possibly. So, yeah, I mean, you can see his hand. I think that's his hand. I could be wrong. We're not really sure. But who will be the last one standing? Yeah, that's kind of how they do it. It's kind of neat. Deku is also utilizing his black whip in the style of Froppy or Asui. being that he's pretty much his legs and arms are useless, but being that he now has float and black whip combined, he can kind of use that to restrain people, and he does that. He goes after Dabi in this episode with it, kind of to break him apart from Shoto at one point. But really good episode overall. There were so many things jam packed. It's like you're happy and you're focused on one thing, and then another thing happens, and then another thing happens, and then another thing happens. This one definitely getting. I would say this one's going to deserve a 10 out of 10 just because you got Best Geniuses back, Lemillion's back, showing Deku using his powers in a new way. Bakugo's got his hero name slash power up to a certain extent. Cool Dabi Shoto fight. Endeavor finally moves. Giga finally gets knocked down. I don't know why so many people are complaining that the sky is blue. I'm going to address that for a second. A lot of people are like complaining on Twitter, "Oh my god, the sky is too blue." Like that is the last thing I am worried about. The animation, I will admit, is not as good as Chainsaw Man and Bleach right now, but that's fine. Not everything has to be as beautiful looking as Chainsaw Man and Bleach. I mean, when you start with like Dragon Ball Z back in the day, not old school Naruto. There's definitely some discrepancies in there, but I very much so enjoyed this episode. I hope you did too. Let me know your thoughts, comments down below. While you're down there, subscribe, turn on that notification bell too. Leave a like, and as always, have a good one.